What is going on, Guardians? Dorverich here, and in this video I will be doing a solo flawless run of the Duality dungeon as Arcstrider Hunter. This is the second video in a series where I go through every dungeon solo flawless on exclusively Arcstrider, as a follow-up to my build video, which I will link in the description below. These runs are going to be with full walkthrough commentary, so if any of you are looking for a very consistent and safe strategy that you can use to solo flawless these dungeons, that is exactly what you're going to find here. Just like with the previous run, I've made a couple modifications to the build to better fit what I'm doing here. I've switched two of the fragments to longer arc grenades and jolting grenades, and I have also dropped powerful friends and striking light in favor of lucent blade and supercharge to get my lament hitting 35% harder against the bosses. This is going to make Gahlran a 3-phase if everything goes well, possibly a 4-phase, and Caiatl will be ideally a 2-phase and possibly a 3-phase. Since this particular dungeon does have a lot of shenanigans that can happen in your runs, it's hard to say for sure if I'm going to hit the ideal 3 and 2 phases, but we'll see what happens. So in my opinion, and I believe the majority of players would agree with me, Duality is by a significant margin the most difficult dungeon to solo flawless. The encounter complexity, enemy density, enemy aggression, and time pressure are head and shoulders above all the rest of the dungeons. Only really the first encounter of Prophecy has a comparable level of enemy aggression. And on top of that, this dungeon is by far the most time consuming to clear. So not only is it more difficult from a mechanical standpoint, but it also demands a much longer period of mental focus, and it can turn into a real test of endurance in that way. The first encounter, especially Gahlran, takes a very long time to do solo, and even though it doesn't demand that you do anything that's demanding from a technical standpoint, when the encounter goes that long, that's a lot of opportunities to mess up and make a stupid mistake and ruin the run. So here we're just doing this jumping section while running past everything. You can kill these enemies if you want to, but in my experience, as long as you keep sprinting and jumping and pressing forward, they'll only hit you once or twice, and they won't pose any real threat to your survivability. And that brings us to the other reason why I believe this is the most difficult dungeon to solo flawless. In between every encounter is a jumping puzzle that actually does have some moderately difficult jumps. And for those, my advice is simply to take your time. The game doesn't care if you take 40 minutes or 5 hours to do a solo flawless run. Either way, you get the same emblem and you get the same triumph. I'm normally a very fast, very aggressive player, and you'll still see me slowing down quite a bit on these jumps. And then if you saw me playing something other than Hunter, so Warlock or Titan, I would be slowing down even more because I haven't played those classes for 1,000 hours. Having a sword does help sometimes if you mess up on a jump, but the way these puzzles are designed, the sword is more often than not going to save you. So here we are coming up on the first room where we actually have to kill stuff. We need to clear this room out completely to open the door to the first encounter proper, which is Nightmare of Gahlran. So this is going to look pretty familiar if you've seen my other videos, just punching and rolling, going invisible, one-shotting everything. And what you're already witnessing here is precisely why this build makes even the Duality solo flawless easy. Because so much of this dungeon's difficulty comes from its extremely high ad density and very aggressive enemy AI. A build that can just clear ads for free without even getting shot at, and when you occasionally do take a hit you heal up to full. A build like this completely trivializes it. So all we have to focus on are the mechanics and not getting killed by the nightmare timer. So let's drop down to Gahlran's area. I probably don't have to flag, but I feel like flagging anyway. Let's go hit the bell and begin this. Buckle up because this will probably take a bit. But we're immediately going to check here and see that indeed there is a standard bearer, so we'll kill this guy. And the way the spawning works for the standard bearers is that there's always going to be one on each side of the map, side being left and right. So because one spawned in that room that we just went into, the other one is going to either be straight across or diagonally across. And since we looked in the room straight across and it wasn't there, we know it has to be diagonally across. With our 3 stacks of combination blow, those bell keepers will go down super fast. Now we can just come over here, kill the other standard bearer, and grab the other standard essence. As we make our way back to the bell to transport back to reality, we will want to make sure that we periodically refresh combination blow along the way so that we don't run all the way out and have to start again from scratch. So back to reality. And we don't have much time left in combination blow, so I'm going to come over here and refresh it real quick. And then dunk Chalice. Since we still have 3 stacks, we can just one punch these bell keepers. 1 more to go. Now we don't actually have to kill everything that comes out of this room. I'm only killing it to reset the timer on combination blow to kill the shades better. Then we'll hit the bell and start punching the shades. Our punches make very short work of these guys, but when we get to the actual time for DPS, I'm going to use the sword against them. We have such a short time to actually damage the boss that the sword ammo usage for killing the shades is going to be completely inconsequential, especially considering that the Lament has the Tireless Blade perk, which will refund ammo on every other kill. So now we just kill these bell keepers to unlock the bell. And run back, and get more stacks of combination blow along the way because I messed up and lost them. Now we're back in reality, so we just need to refresh combination blow again, then dunk 1 more standard, and it'll be time for the DPS phase. Dunk that there, go and kill the bell keepers. I did not get a refresh off of that, so I'll need to grab it off of the dog here. Reset the timer, and hit the bell. Now the damage for this fight was significantly easier the season the dungeon came out because we had the Glaive of Dreams artifact mod, which made it so that if you had a glaive equipped and picked up Nightmare Essence, it would, I believe, double the duration of the buff. So when we got to Gahlran, the season this dungeon came out, with the Glaive of Dreams mod, we would have several seconds of that massive damage buff against nightmares since he is a nightmare type. But now, 2 or 3 phasing him is a lot more difficult since we don't have that mod anymore. And I got to him with only 1 stack of Charge of Flight for my Lucent Blade, and I'm missing quite a few attacks, so this is not a great damage phase. Always keep an eye on the timer. When it reaches about 8 seconds, you want to get out of there and start going towards the bell. Wow, that was awful damage. That is not even 4-phase pace. I'll make it up on the later phases, I promise. We are out of combination blow stacks, so we will have to stack up again, but fortunately for us, Scions are very squishy, so we should be able to stack on them without an issue. It'll take 2 punches for the first, and then everything else will go down in 1. Alright, there go the bell keepers. So now we just hit the bell and gather another 2 standard essences. Looks like there is one in this room, so again, the other one is going to be either straight across or across on a diagonal. You're never ever going to have 2 on the same side. Alright, I do not see it in the room across from us, so that means it's going to be diagonally across. Only 5 seconds on combination blow, but I should be able to refresh on the bell keepers right here. And I did not have Well of Ions active, so the bell keepers did not die to the punch, but died to the lightning aftershock, which will not build up a stack. Alright, it looks like I missed something, and The second standard essence is not in that room, so that means it has to be back up here. It's been quite a while since I've soloed this dungeon. I haven't run it solo, actually since the week it came out, so I'm still a little bit rusty on the solo strats. I've run this in a group plenty of times though. Alright, there's our second standard essence. I guess I've been spoiled by having my teammate find the other essence while I'm getting the first one. The combination blow is only at 1 stack, so we need to get a couple of those. Dunk here, and then we should be able to get the 3rd stack pretty easily off of a dog. In the meantime, we can aftershock the Bellkeepers to death. Or they can push me. That's cool too. It worked out in the end because I could weaken it with the grenade and then grab the 3rd stack that way. So hit the bell and let's start killing some shades. A notable downside of going invisible in the Shades room is that they won't come towards you as aggressively, or sometimes they go aggressively towards the wrong place, where they last saw you instead of where you currently are. Unlock the bell. With these Bellkeepers, you always have to be careful of their push attack. It's much less of a problem with the build that we're on because we're always invisible, rolling around, oftentimes rolling behind them. But on a build that doesn't work like this, the Bellkeepers are probably the single biggest threat to the Flawless run. There's just so much potential for them to shove you either off of a cliff or into a wall, and nothing feels worse than losing a Solo Flawless run to physics. I actually have a video on my channel called Duality Solo Oof Compilation, and that video is a montage of every single time that I died in the process of learning and achieving my first Solo Flawless Duality run. And I don't remember exactly how many deaths there were, I think it was around 10. But all but 2 of the deaths, I believe, were to Bellkeepers pushing me into various things. So they're really no joke. Since this is damage time, we're using the sword to clear the shades as fast as possible and give ourselves maximum time for DPS. Don't forget to kill the Bellkeepers. And that is why we love the Lament, or just having a sword in general. If we get pushed off a cliff, we can just swipe right back. Dealing sword DPS to this guy on this ramp is really awkward. It feels like the Lament has a lot of trouble tracking him on the slope, and his movements also become extremely erratic when you add an up-down component to them. So that was just as embarrassing of a damage phase as the first one. It looks like this is going to be a 4 phase. But as far as the game is concerned, a clear is a clear. And I'm not going to restart this just to have a slightly faster boss kill. If I were doing a more show-off type run, yeah, I guess I would restart that to show a faster kill. But part of what I want to show with this video series is that you don't need good RNG or good luck to get these Solo Flawless runs. If you use the right strategy, it's extremely consistent. That's not to say that it's impossible to lose a run to bad luck. For example, this dungeon is really buggy, and sometimes you'll hit a bell and it will just decide to kill you out of nowhere. And there's not really much you can do about that. But if you're attempting a Solo Flawless run and you die to enemies, or you die to normal mechanics, it's because you messed up. Of course, that's provided that you had a sound strategy going into it to begin with. If you bring a bad strategy or a half-baked build into a Solo Flawless run, it's going to make it a lot more difficult than it needs to be. To be honest, the most difficult part of doing a Solo Flawless run, again in my opinion, is developing the initial strategy, because once you have a sound strategy, the execution in this game is not hard. So we only have a couple seconds. The refresh combination blow. Punch one Bellkeeper. Punch the second Bellkeeper. Give it one more refresh, and then go in and hit the bell. Alright, these guys are nicely grouped up, so they should die together to the Aftershock. That's always satisfying. This fight makes me really miss the Glaive of Dreams mod. In retrospect, I probably should have brought a glaive to this anyway, because that would allow me to clear the shade significantly faster when it's time for actual DPS without actually consuming my charged with light stacks that would otherwise go to boss damage through Lucid Blade. So I'm actually going to add that here as a sort of do as I say, not as I do tip. Bring a glaive in your energy slot to this fight. It'll do you a lot of good. Use it before the actual boss DPS to clear the shades extremely quickly without consuming charged with light stacks. I've used a glaive in this encounter before, and it is more than capable of ringing the bell from inside those rooms. It only takes one shot. Alright, one more Bellkeeper left. Now refresh the timer, go in, hit the bell, and kill the shades as fast as we can. Nice, they're being more cooperative than the last time. Since I punched this last guy, I will get an Arc Well to max out my charge with light stacks. I'm feeling really good about this upcoming damage phase. Oh, perfect. He even jumped onto the flat ground. Okay, we're gonna do a lot of damage to him here, because we're not gonna have nearly as much jank with the sword targeting, or with his up and down movement. Just straight up Lament DPS. Oh yeah, look at that. I might be able to kill him, but it's gonna be close. I won't take that risk. Again, doing a Solo Flawless run is not the time to be experimenting or taking risks. Stick with what you know best and what you're most comfortable with, what you know is going to work. We'll need to grab a fresh deck of combination blow off of these scions here. Only 2 stacks, but that's still enough to blow up the Bellkeepers. And let's go back in. These are the last 2 standard essences we're going to have to collect for this encounter. So check across first. I don't see anything, nothing on the radar either. So it's going to be diagonal. Punch a dude on the way there to refresh combination blow. Hello, Gahlran. I'm here to kill your friends. Okay, bye. I'll talk to you again later. And I do not see where this scion is. Oh, there he is. He was hiding in a corner. Alright, axe and dog. So refresh. Go back to reality and look for something else to punch to get a fresh stack. We have plenty of time to dunk this, kill a Bellkeeper, and then go get another stack off the dogs, so that's what we're going to do. We don't have to kill any of it, hit the bell. And we are back to full sword ammo, this is perfect. We're as good as done here. Oh, that was a triple aftershock kill. So satisfying. Now we kill the bell keepers to unlock the bell. Now just one more dunk left. I'm not going to make it all the way over there to refresh, am I? It's alright. We're about to have plenty of dogs spawning. I'm going to want 3 stacks before I go in, but I can kill the bell keepers with just 2. That's 3, so refresh, and hit the bell. We're not under much time pressure at all here, but I'm still going to pull out the sword. We can just ignore the bell keepers now, because there's absolutely no way we're going to not kill here. And goodbye. That was a little bit mentally exhausting, but it does feel good knowing that the hardest overall encounter of the dungeon is over. The only thing that's really going to be a challenge for this build in the remainder of the dungeon is going to be the immediate start of Caiatl DPS, where we have to very quickly kill all those bell keepers without allowing Caiatl to escape. But I'll talk about that more once we actually get there. So for this jumping puzzle, remember, take your time, make sure you land the jumps. There is no reward for going fast, only for completing. Another thing, remember that it's always better to slightly undershoot than it is slightly overshoot. So when in doubt, err on the side of undershooting. Because if you slightly undershoot, you can hit the edge of the platform and mantle up onto it. If you overshoot, you are sliding right off the other side. So with this slide that's coming up, you can use your sword and swipe backwards to slow yourself down, but I've found that it's just as consistent to just hold backwards and jump right there, and you make it every time. And it's the same deal for the later slide as well, the one right before Caiatl. Hold the backwards key and jump right at the end, and you'll make it every time. We're just running past all this stuff because it doesn't pose any threat to us. For this jump over here to the left, make sure that you jump slightly off to the side so that you don't bonk your head on the pipes. You will probably still make it, even if you hit your head on the pipes, but it's better to be safe than sorry. So if you have the option to lose less distance from the jump, you should probably take it.
Shadows were cast here. History made.
And I just realized that I was so excited to hit that bell that I completely forgot to look at which statue was the one that I have to turn 3 times. Okay, it's that one. So this room is always the same configuration. It's always 3, then 2, then 2. So turn this one 3 times, then go to the left and turn that one twice, and then to the left again and turn that one twice. You'd think that for a sort of puzzle they'd at least randomize it a little bit. Sort of like the cube room in Prophecy. All the statues should now be aligned. So now we can go and watch the vault door open. Thematically, I've always really liked this part. just remembering that we are in a sort of manifestation of Callus's mind. And if he has something locked in an unnecessarily secure vault this deep inside, it's got to be a memory that he really doesn't want to face. Loadout-wise, for the vault encounter, I cannot possibly recommend a waveframe grenade launcher enough. In the part where you have to kill a bunch of phalanxes and other red bars quickly to spawn the standard bearer while you're on a timer, the waveframe grenade launcher is a godsend, because you can just shoot it right at the feet of a phalanx and it will go straight through the shield and kill it. And if there's another phalanx lined up behind it, that one's dying too. I also just realized that I did not bring a primary in the kinetic slot that's capable of shooting bells. Let me look at my dim here. Adept Duty Bound? This thing looks fun, I guess. Let me pull it over. I have not used this thing, but some of my clanmates really like it, so I guess let's give it a go, even though we're only going to be using it to shoot bells. Let's see how this thing feels. Oh, that is stable. That's going to be perfect for bells. But first thing, before we expose ourselves to the bell keepers, we'll want to acquire 3 stacks of combination blow, so that we can just show up and one-shot them. Remember, bell keepers are the most dangerous enemies with their push attack. And there they go. So what do we need for symbols? We need cup, and we need dog. I've actually got a map open on my other monitor here. So if my map is correct, cup should be diagonally across from where we are now. And I completely forgot to kill the bell keepers that were responsible for that bell. So whenever possible, when you're soloing this and you're choosing which bell to hit, you'll want to hit the one across the room from where you're going. The reason for this is that the bell keepers will spawn opposite whichever bell you hit. So if you hit the one that's across the room, the bell keepers will spawn right next to you once you're in the Nightmare Realm, and it will make it much easier to finish the whole rotation in time. We're going to pop super here because clearing fast here is that important. We're on that Nightmare Collapse timer. And here comes the standard bearer. Gonna sort him. Punch a dog to go invisible and get amplified for the speed buff. And start booking it. 39 seconds. We've got quite a bit of time left. I wonder if we could actually get the second standard bearer done in that time. You know what, I'll give it a go. Actually, that's probably a bad idea. I've never attempted that in a solo run before, and now is not the time. We'll just do it the old-fashioned way, one at a time. It doesn't even waste very much time either. So it's not like it's even that much of a time saver to do both at the same time. We're gonna get back up to 3 stacks of combination blow before we start going for the next one. Our stacks of combination blow are pretty much directly tied to our safety with this build. I would rather have a fresh timer on combination blow before I go in, so I'm going to go here and grab one of the dudes for a stack. And go in. There's a guy over here we can refresh on as long as we're careful about that phalanx behind. It is extremely important in this encounter, well, the encounters in this dungeon in general, but especially this one, to never ever get within melee range of a phalanx. The phalanxes are completely and utterly broken from a physics standpoint. If one of them shield bashes you, it will launch you at Mach 10. And if you don't go off a cliff and die, you will slam into a wall and die. So treat the Cabal phalanxes as if they were a one-hit kill. Another thing to be careful of is the Bellkeeper push attack. If you see one of them sort of pause and point his shoulder towards you, sidestep immediately, preferably behind cover. Because if you don't, he's going to yeet you. So once we dunk Chalice here, the Nightmare will become vulnerable. And we're going to refresh Combination Blow before DPS, so that in case anything goes really wrong during DPS, we will have a full stack to insta-kill some ad, get invisible, get healed up all the way. It's an excellent panic button to have. Alright, that's first Nightmare down, and 2 to go. So we have Axe and we have Sun. So if my map is correct, Axe should be right over here. Yep. I almost forgot to kill Bellkeepers. I guess the length of the dungeon is already starting to get to me a little bit. The other pair of Bellkeepers is down here, so we can kill them. And this should be Sun. Wait, no, that's Cup. I am extremely directionally challenged, by the way, so even with a map open on my other monitor, I often have trouble finding my way around. If you guys stick around for my Pit of Heresy Solo Flawless run, you're going to be laughing at me at the maze portion. Alright, don't have our super here, but that's okay since we have a wave frame. So we're gonna come up here, punch this guy, turn around, and start spamming wave frames until we win the game. This is just making me really excited to finally get this Forbearance crafted with Chain Reaction. I'm actually using it in the dungeon right now to level it up. The same as before. Roll, punch a dog to get invis and the amplified speed boost. Take out the Bellkeepers, being careful to not get hit by their boop attack. Where'd the other one go? Oh, he jumped up and back down. We were a bit slow on this particular rotation, but the timer is actually pretty generous. As long as we don't actually waste any time, we're very unlikely to actually miss the collapse timer if all we do is grab one standard and kill the Bellkeepers. Got 2 stacks, 3 stacks. Now axis should be this one. I'm gonna double check. Nope, I read my map backwards because I'm just smart like that. Axis should be this one. So hit the bell. 10 seconds of combination blow should be enough. Okay, it looks like there's only a phalanx there. I am not about to attempt to reset combination blow on a thing that can one-shot me. Spam electricity explosions until we win. This should be the last guy left. I can use him for a stack. And it looks like I just missed my Gumper's dodge, so unfortunately my skills are on cooldown. But at least I still get the amplified. Might make our way back to the bell. I can get my stacks back once we're back in reality. There's no reason to get them in here at this point. I call it reality, but It's still a part of a Mindscape. I guess it's just a little bit more real than the Nightmarescape. 2 stacks. 2 stacks is enough. Let's do it. I've noticed that this particular boss really likes to shove you around, so mind your positioning. Like, really mind your positioning when you're sorting this guy. Because even with a sword, if this guy pushes you off a cliff, or off the edge of the map, the sword's not going to get you enough momentum to get back on a lot of the time. The last 2 symbols... Axe and Sun. I will remember to kill the Bellkeepers this time. And the other pair is hiding in this corner. Okay, Sun should be across to our left, and then Axe should be diagonal from it. Yep, here's Sun. Oh, I just barely missed the reset there. It's a little annoying. Okay, we're stacked back up. Grab one more reset up here and hit the bell. Okay, that was bad. I completely messed up my jump timing and ate pretty much all of those slowing missiles. On a less forgiving build, that might have been a near-death experience, but this build doesn't care about anything. Come on, give me that amplified. I might have already had it, but I didn't see it on the buffs bar. It's 2022 and there's still a video game that only shows you 4 buffs. At least they're usually considered enough to make mechanically important buffs appear towards the top. Alright, Sun, and then Axe should be down here to the right. Never mind, that's where I just came from. If you're enjoying watching my confusion here, I'm telling you, just wait until you see me do Pit of Heresy. Punch this guy, turn around, spam. Grab invis, grab amplified, and go. I have a few seconds left in combination blow, but a red bar walked in my way, so don't mind if I do. Alright, I'll need to grab a reset before I start lamenting this boss. There's the reset. And chainsaw. Gonna refresh the buff again just in case. You never know when something might go wrong, especially in this dungeon. One more combo should do it. And there we go. Now all we have left is one more jumping section and then final boss. So with this build, against final boss, all of the difficulty of the fight is going to be focused into the moment right after we ring the big bell. Since so much of the intended difficulty of that fight is from the pressure with the absolutely insane amount of ads spawning in. And our build completely trivializes that part. All we have to focus on is the mechanics. But for now we have a jumping section to worry about. And by worry, I mean take our time and do it carefully. Alright, we don't have to kill any of this. We can just jump around here. They'll shoot at us a little bit, but they're not going to hit any shots. Or they could just not shoot at us. Welcome to the do you know how to run in a straight line part. I say that, but I've fallen off of the beams and Shattered Throne an embarrassing amount of times while running in a straight line. Okay, for this part, there are two ways you can approach it. You can either run straight through and make it through before the phalanxes get a chance to decide they want to push you, like I'm doing right here. Or you can hang back and kill everything. Now for this slide, again, just like the previous one, hold back and then jump. I guarantee you'll make it every time. Even though this particular jumping part is pretty easy, they really did a great job of making it feel dangerous. Even though I don't think I've ever actually fallen off here, other than, you know, messing around with friends and shoving each other, it still makes me nervous every time. So, loadout. For this, I definitely want to switch back to my 1-2 punch shotgun. So I'll throw that on. What if I wanted in the energy slot? Nah. I'll do the good old Wastelander. And I should actually be able to use a wave frame. Wait, no, I forgot that they turned off splash damage being able to activate the bells. Yeah, I'll just switch back to the Battler, maybe get some levels on it. Doesn't really matter what I use in that slot as long as it shoots straight and can hit across a room. Alright, reload the shotgun, and let's do this. So very first thing, we need to take out the Bell Keepers. Both because they are the only actual enemy in this room that can threaten us, and because they're mechanically significant because we can't use the bells with them still alive. And then once all the Bell Keepers are dead, we'll look at the symbols. I already saw that we needed axes though. Okay, cup and axes. The cup and axes are going to be both of the ones on the right side of the room. You always want to make sure that you know where you're going before you go into the Nightmare Realm, because you don't have any of the symbols to guide you once you're in here. The axis is going to be right here. Now if we move quickly enough, even if we do mess up and accidentally kill an incorrect standard bearer, we usually have enough time to still make it out without dying to the nightmare timer. So come here, refresh our stacks, get some invis, and dunk Chalice from the safety of invis. Gonna come over to the other side and do the same thing. Punch a guy, get invis, dunk. Now we need Sun. And I don't see the other one yet. Sun axes. Alright, that is going to be both far. So both far. So here's one, and then the other one will be straight across. Now we just have to kill 4 Bellkeepers and we'll be able to get back. That's all 4. There's a lot of dogs that want a piece of us, but this build doesn't care. Now once we dunk these, the big bell will be ready. And as soon as we ring the big bell, that is going to bring us to the most intense part of the dungeon. The roughly 10 to 20 seconds after we ring the big bell. So we're going to make sure that we have a fresh combination blow timer, hit it with a shotgun to ring it faster, and then book it to the middle bell. We're going to immediately kill the 2 middle bell keepers as soon as we get teleported. So here they are, punch, that should take care of them both. Where's Caiatl going? Okay, she's going left, so I can keep moving this way. Kill both of the bell keepers, bait the stomp to slow her down. Hit the bell, super, go in with the lament. I did whiff a couple swings there because I misjudged the distance, but not everything can be perfect. Okay, now we'll go over here, hop up and see if she's going middle. Alright, she is, so hit the bell, and do more DPS. Alright, we'll leave just a little bit early here to make sure that we beat her to this spell by enough to kill the bell keepers ahead of her arrival. Hit the bell, and lament. So we are getting shot by snipers, but we don't have to worry about that because the lament's going to keep us alive for now. But as soon as DPS ends, we have to run. So get out. If we get sniped and stomped at the same time, it's run over. So we're going to come up here, jump at this guy, punch him, and that's going to give us a full heal, and it's going to give us invis. Now we're safe. So that was about half of her health. It is beautiful after the rest of this dungeon to have a big boss that just holds still for optimal lament comboing. If Gahlran stood still like that too, there is no way he would have lasted 4 phases. So we have to kill the bell keepers before anything, but so far I see axes. The last couple bell keepers right here. Axe dog. That's going to be the back right and the front left. So we're going to have to go diagonally from where we first enter the Nightmare Escape. Just clearing out some of these guys to make it less likely that we get hit hard while we're shooting the bell. I was hoping my shotgun could get that from there. Whatever, I'll pulse rifle it, the normal person. So this is going to be one of them, and then we go diagonally. And since there are a couple bell keepers in our path, we might as well take them out on the way. Right, that's both, and we've already killed 2 Bellkeepers, so now you just have to kill these 2, and then we can return and dunk. Bell is now usable. We're still at about half of our heavy ammo, but I have faith that we're going to get bricks before then. Dunk from the safety of Invis again. Punch another guy. And another invisible dunk. We have Dog. And on the other side we have Cup Dog. That is going to be both front. Here's the first one. And then other one should be straight across. Whoops. This is why Hunter's vertical recovery is awesome. Right, 2 more Bellkeepers, and then we can dunk these last 2, and hopefully kill her in the second phase. And back to reality for hopefully the last time. We're gonna need to pretty quickly find someone. Oh, there he is. That's convenient. Easy refresh, he was right there. An invisible, dunk. Roll, go invisible again. Extend invisibility, dunk. We have full heavy, so we're going to ring the bell right away, and I just saw a bunch of immune numbers. That's weird. Okay, there we go. Same as before, book it to the middle, immediately kill the middle Bellkeepers. Alright, not sure where she's going yet. Alright, she's going middle. So come middle, bait the stomp to slow her down. Hit the bell, super, grenade, sword. Now we're going to step back and see which direction she decides to go. It looks like she's going this way. Yep, she's going this way. So come over here, sword the last Bellkeeper, while baiting the stomp to slow her down. Hit the bell, and back to sorting. And there's only one place she can go now, and that's straight across, so we're just going to run straight there. We're going to have plenty of time to kill these 2 guys. And we actually do not want to bait her stomp too much on the way here, because there are 2 snipers shooting at us, and we need to get back to life leeching with the sword. And we should be able to kill her right here. And she is done. That was a solo flawless run of the Duality Dungeon as Arcstrider Hunter. You can find a full video breakdown of the build in the description below, as well as a dim link to the exact configuration that I used for this run. Drop a like if you found this video helpful or entertaining, and if you want to see more Destiny 2 content, including endgame build videos, consider subscribing to the channel. Thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next one, Guardians.
Should you be willing to delve into his nightmares again?